Hi everyone, it's Rudy at Culloden Painting Studio. I'm back with another Speedpaint and Drybrush painting guide. And today's subject is an infantryman from the American Civil War on the side of the Confederates. I did one on the Union troops previously, but now you can see how you can paint up a rebel to face off against them. This is a peri-plastic miniature from their very early ACW set, which contains troops which are just about usable for both sides. I've primed him with a light grey. This is Ghoul grey from the Colour Forge. And to do the skin, I'm using some Speedpaint Peachy Flesh. With this process, Speedpaints go on first and then some dry brushing will follow, but you could of course just leave it at the Speedpaint only stage to really rapidly churn these out. But one advantage of using the dry brushing is that it can help even out any areas of sort of coffee staining or just to really highlight some of the nicely sculpted areas on the model. I'm using some Runic Grey to do his coat. I'm sort of taking the opportunity to show a bunch of different colours off on this figure, as if he's been campaigning for a while and is making do with all sorts of equipment. But you could, of course, keep your infantryman to a single colour for the uniform if you so choose. As well as grey, which we might expect on a lot of Confederate infantrymen, they might have some homespun cloth in what was known as butternut, but I'm using Bony Matter to do the trousers to represent that. Dark wood is going to pick out the wood parts on the rifled musket, funnily enough. Try and leave the barrel and strap, but if I did get some of the paint on them, I'd go back with a light grey to touch that back up, something like company grey from the Army Painter. Next colour I'm using is Howling Sand. Unsurprisingly, a lot of cotton from all the slave plantations in the south, and cotton was used for equipment like this bread bag. It's on a strap across the shoulder, and some musket slings would be cotton as well. Next up, I've got some Satchel Brown, which I'll use to pick out his hair, beard and moustache. You could, of course, use your dark wood for this. I'm also going to use this on the water bottle strap, which runs above the bag strap. This is to represent leather, and you could also do this for things like the cartridge box and belts. They could be brown or black. I will do them in black today. And here comes the Grim Black. So as well as the cartridge box and strap, it's also a pouch on the front of the belt. Things like the boots. We've got a little bayonet sheath there. Belt round the middle. Doing his hat with Gravelord Grey. You could, of course, use this colour for the uniform. But I think it's useful just to show the difference between the Gravelord and the Runic Grey on one model, so you can choose which grey you prefer when it comes to painting your own models. I'm going to do a little bit of dry brushing now before I tackle the metal work on the model. A couple of reasons for that is that I'll be going over areas that will be painted with the metal colours with a big brush, and I don't want to have to end up redoing them. I've got some ruby skin, and I'll pick out his nose and cheeks, knuckles on the hands. Next up is some ash grey. Do that on the grey of the coat and the hat, and also any black areas as well. Tomb King Tan is going to highlight these butternut trousers, and it's also fairly useful for picking out edges of the brown, such as hair or the wood on the musket. Polished Silver is going to pick out the tin canteen, also this tin cup, and the metal areas on the rifled musket. Glittering loot to pick out a buckle and a bit of brass work on the musket. For a couple of finishing touches on the face, I'm going to give a sort of stubble effect to the cheeks. On a beardless model, it would go around the chin. And this is some Runic Grey that's been diluted quite substantially with medium for speed paints. It's probably like a 10-to-1 ratio of medium to speed paint. You want it really thin. And you can apply numerous coats this way to deepen the stubble effect. So the last touch I'm doing is a bit of ruddiness added to the nose and the cheeks. This is Poppy Red. Again, it's been diluted about 10 parts medium to 1 part red. Okay, I think we'll leave it at that. Go off to basing and show you what a group of these guys looks like. And here's what a couple of bases of 8 Confederate infantrymen look like. They're arranged in a ragged firing line. Everything done here with speed paints with a bit of dry brushing with some Fanatic acrylics over the top. One thing that the Confederates have going for them over the Union troops is that you get a bit more variety. You can mix up the colours of the uniforms to represent people who've been supplied from different parts of the Confederacy, perhaps even units that have picked up some Union clothes and dyed them or taken them for their own purposes. I don't have any sky blue trousers in this batch, but you could include some of them. I think that the Union troops provide an opportunity for a much brighter, more eye-catching finish. Using the magic blue on the trousers really made them stand out from afar, and it's a nice contrast against the cloudburst blue jackets that I did. I'll put a link to that video at the end of this one. These Confederates, things are a lot more pastel, I think, with this set of colours. Perhaps suitable for a sort of faded on campaign and dirty look. But I think at a distance there is the danger a lot of these colours blend into one. Things like the blanket rolls kind of aid against that. You know, you're getting a bit of splash of colour throughout. And perhaps going for the Gravelord Grey and the Runic Grey together in one unit means that the individual figures are a bit distinct from each other. The Bony Matter's a pretty good example for a sort of very sun-bleached butternut finish on some of the clothing. It's certainly the closest from the colours that I had to hand. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you've got any comments or suggestions, always feel free to put them down below and I'll get back to you. Big thanks to my Patreon supporters and growing list of channel members. It's really helpful to have the support from you all. And also thanks to anyone who likes these videos and subscribes to the channel. It helps me keep motivated to know that people are watching. I'll be back again soon with another video. Bye for now.